Welcome to the Remember Your Truth Network, celebrating your truth and co-creating authentic spiritual connection in our global community.
You're listening to Your Light Has Come. I'm your host, Tullio Loud, also known as the Zen Man. On this channel, I will be exploring ways to approach life through peace and mindfulness. Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Thank you for tuning in to episode 5. Since Halloween is upon us, I felt that this would be a good time to talk about wearing masks. I'm not talking about the masks that we put on for Halloween, but rather the masks that we all put on each and every day. At least most of us, that is. So, how many of us wear masks? How many of us present another version of ourselves when we are in a different environment? When we are at home? When we are at work? When we are in public? Amongst strangers? Or even when we are around our friends? By wearing these various masks, we can often lose sight of who we really are. Maybe these versions are just mere aspects of who we truly are. This will make for an interesting debate and definitely a question for each of us to ponder and dig into. I know that for myself, in my life, I have worn many masks. I did touch upon this in one of my earlier podcasts when I spoke about hiding my depression and how I would put on that happy mask when I was around people, all the while dealing with this sense of misery deep inside of my soul. There were many reasons for doing this, and I'm certain that many of you can relate to them. We will talk more about those reasons in a bit, but first I want to discuss the many masks that people wear on a daily basis. And not all of them are bad, as you might be thinking. During Halloween, it has become a tradition for many of us to don masks in celebration of this holiday as we have come to know it. However, Halloween is actually an ancient Celtic holiday on which people believed they needed masks to protect themselves from bad spirits that roam the earth on All Hallows Eve. Even though this no longer seems to be the case, thousands of years later, people are still wearing masks, both as costumes and in everyday life. Why has this become such a fascination? In both aspects, it can be easy to see why, especially in relation to Halloween, but in everyday life, it becomes a little more difficult to understand. People hide behind anything from a false smile to many variations of emotional masks, some due to fear and others due to emotions. For example, if we are insecure, we might hide behind the mask of name-dropping. If we are unsure of our power, we can hide behind the mask of being a bully. If we don't think the world loves us, we can hide behind the mask of anger. We may pretend things are fine at work, when in fact we don't even like the work that we are doing. And we may pretend that things are okay in our marriages or in our relationships when they are not, and so on. So, what masks do you wear? One of the most common reasons we wear masks is what some people refer to as the imposter syndrome. That's the fear that the world is going to find us out. It can be described as feeling like a fake, like you really don't belong, or like you aren't really successful, but are just pretending to be. One of our greatest fears is that if we show our true selves, we will not be accepted or liked. But being just you is actually the best and most perfect thing you could ever be. As Judy Garland once said, always be a first-rate version of yourself and not a second-rate version of someone else. Does that resonate with anyone? I know I've tried to be somebody that I'm not on many occasions. So when it comes to my story, I can give you many examples of why I wore masks, but today I will focus on one in particular. As I spoke of earlier, the mask I wore most often was that of happiness. Now you might think, well, that sounds like a good mask to wear. But let me tell you why I wore it and why for me it was very painful. There were other masks that were also associated with the one of happiness, like that of envy, that of jealousy and of fear, and of anger and hate. These were all byproducts of the mask of happiness, mainly because these emotions were a result of my wearing this mask and the result of my unwillingness to deal with the pain I was feeling inside. You see, there was a lot of judgment going on within my mind around how I was not able to overcome this pain, and with that judgment came a lot of other feelings, like that of unworthiness and inadequacy. which also led to some very bad behaviors that caused me even more pain. And well, you can see the spiral effect. Most people, if not all, never knew the depth of the pain that I was experiencing. And well, how could they? I never let anyone get close enough to see it. I created an entire lifestyle around doing just that, hiding it. I chose a career that required me to travel extensively, which in turn helped me to mask the pain even more. I chose relationships that were unhealthy. I chose to have so-called friends that took advantage of me. And well, I just continued to make bad choices in my life. From the outside, my life seemed quite normal. I did what most people did, but it was all just going through the motions for me. The proverbial fake it till you make it syndrome. I can tell you from firsthand experience that this doesn't work. The only way to shed the mask for me was to deal with the pain that caused me to wear it in the first place. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was easy, but I will tell you that once I made the decision to deal with the pain, that it was then that my life began to change. Asking for help is where all healing begins. Knowing that I was not alone also helped me to realize that I had hope. I was not the only one that was dealing with pain. If there is anything that I would like you to know, it's that you are never alone with your pain. There is always help. Sometimes you may have to try harder to find it, but trust me, if you make that a priority, you will find it, or it will find you. Today, I am living a life of happiness, and it comes from the inside, not the outside. It is no longer a mask that I wear. It is my true self, and that is pure, perfect love. All I want is for everyone to have this in their life. That is why I do what I do. I am here to help you find that happiness and shed the mask or masks that you are wearing. True happiness is always an inside job, so you know what that means. It all begins with you. You must make the choice to be happy, and then you have to do the work that it takes to make it your reality. Now that I have found inner peace, I am able to find joy in all things. Some people may say, how is that possible? Well, for me, the answer is gratitude. One of the simplest things you can do is to start a practice of gratitude. Begin each day by being grateful for what you do have and not for what you don't have. Focus on all the good in your life, and you will soon find that you will attract more of it. I know it sounds like a cliche, but give it a try. Now I would like to share with you 3 practical reasons why we should shed our masks. The first is to live into our potential. We have to bring all of who we are to what we do. There are numerous people who have our same skill sets, or maybe even a better one. But none of these people bring the same personality, creativity, and spirit to the job that you do. That's something they can't match. The second reason is relief. It is exhausting to live an inauthentic life. You put on a mask or 2 or 10, then take a few off, then put on a couple of more. It's exhausting. Worst of all, you start forgetting who you really are. The third and most important reason is healing. When we wear masks, we carve a piece of ourselves out, withholding parts of ourselves as unworthy. But in relationships, especially in our spiritual relationships, we can't be truly healed unless we offer up all the pieces. It's like handing someone a broken vase and asking him or her to fix it, but holding back 2 or 3 of the pieces. Everything in our lives gets cheated when we choose to hide ourselves behind our mask. We weren't born with masks. We put them on, so we can take them off. Start with this simple exercise. Think about a negative message you have held on to. Ask yourself whether it is true. More than likely, the answer is no. And if it is not, then ask yourself these questions. Why am I carrying that message? If I put it down, what would happen? Probably nothing. The main risk we face is the world's reaction. Opening yourself up threatens others. It invites them to reevaluate their own lives. Many times, it forces them to realize that they too have the power to change, but yet they haven't. But don't let that stop you. Don't pull your mask partially off, then let the world scare you into putting it back on. Think about the masks you wear and commit to taking them off. Hold your gifts out to the world. No apology, no shame, no regrets. As the old saying goes, every creature has its rightful place, and in that place it becomes beautiful. All you can do in life is be who you are. Let's try that mask on. I do hope that this has shed some light on the masks that you are wearing and may have worn in the past, and hopefully this will help you to remove some of those masks. If you would like more information or a transcript of this podcast, please send an email to info@yourlighthascome and include the episode number in the subject field. Thank you again for joining me today. I look forward to our next time together. May you all be blessed.
You have been listening to a Remember Your Truth podcast. If you would like to learn more about the contributor of this podcast or additional Remember Your Truth resources, please visit us at rememberyourtruth.com.